Hello and welcome to Series 2 of M&G Investments podcast Dream Machine.
Alex,
Award-winning podcast Dream Machine. My name's Alex Matcham and I'm here with my colleague Laura Brown.
Hello.
Each episode we speak to one of our investment professionals to try to get to know the people behind the portfolios.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to be asking our investment experts to choose from their dream virtual vending machine, their favourite crisps, chocolate bar and drink.
Finding conviction in the calories.
Absolutely. And we should also say, very important, that this is not a promotion for any of the items that we're going to be talking about today. There is a whole world of snacks out there.
Indeed, as always, none of Dream Machine content should be taken as financial advice, nor should it be taken as nutritional advice. If you are unsure, you should speak to a financial advisor or a nutritionist.
So, with the disclaimers well and truly done, let's begin. Today we're joined by Richard Halle, manager on our European Equities team at M&G Investments. Richard's been here since 1999, that's right, and has a particular focus on value investing. Richard, welcome to Dream Machine.
Thanks for the invitation. It's great to be here, guys.
So Richard, this is Series 2 obviously, so you have the benefit of having maybe watched a few of the previous episodes. So I ask you, have you done your due diligence?
I sure have, and I'm salivating at the prospect.
Excellent, that's good to hear. So let's take us back, as Laura mentioned there, 1999. What brings Richard Halle, a younger Richard Halle, to England and to join M&G and become a fund manager?
Super, yeah. Well, in easily one word, debt. I had a big student loan, and interest rates at the time in South Africa were 17.5%,
Wow.
and I was just not making any progress. And so me and a couple of my university friends decided to come over for a couple of years, and we did. And within 3 months, I realized I never wanted to leave this glorious country ever again. And and I had a real interest in investing. I worked for an insurance company and I did my CFA all on my own. It was quite a niche thing at the time. And then this job came up at M&G for an insurance analyst, and I applied and very gratefully got the job. And here I am, 26 years later, whatever.
And you initially, after that initial role, then moved into starting to run portfolios.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge baptism of fire. One, because I saw that last year of the TMT bubble and the subsequent demise, which is a very cheap MBA. I got paid to do it much better than any MBA you could do. The other thing was, a month after I joined technically Prudential Portfolio Managers, we bought M&G. So in those first 2 years, we put the two businesses together, and there was a big upheaval. And out of that came this European ex-UK portfolio. It was a very large portfolio. And somebody decided that me, with my kind of, I think, 2.5 years of investment experience, was the right person to run that. And yeah, still running it, coming up for 25th anniversary shortly.
And you were given some quite specific feedback about how long it might take to be able to evaluate you. Could you just elaborate on that?
Alex, you're very well informed. Yes, I did. It was a wonderful man. Gave me this opportunity, and I think he thought, let's just give Richard a bit of reassurance. And he said, Richard, we think you're going to make a good fund manager, but as you know, this is a really intangible skill, and we're not going to know until 10 years later. And that was essentially his way of saying, yeah, we've got your back. Don't worry, it's all going to be good.
And do you think being afforded that sort of time horizon, has that really shaped how you invest and your kind of approach to investing and how you think about things generally day to day?
Completely. I mean, almost nobody gets that opportunity. Almost everybody else gets given a small fund and they say, well, have a go. And then, they have quite a limited time to prove themselves, I think. And I had the opposite. And it did, being given that opportunity so early on, I think if you've got in any sense of humility or self-awareness, you have to think, gosh, how am I really going to do this? And so we had to try to do things a bit differently. And it was that gift of time, that time horizon differential compared to almost everybody else that I thought, right, I've got that and we can work around that.
And the sort of dot-com bubble and how that impacted your view on kind of, I guess, growth, value and all those kind of things. Did that obviously a bit of a interesting time to join the kind of...
Completely. So when I was given the fund, I I didn't have to have a certain style or anything in advance. I could work out what investor I was. And Laura, you're right. That experience of watching that last year of the dot-com bubble when everybody got so excited by these internet stocks and bought into these growth stories and these narratives, and then seeing those unwind in short order, and then a complete reversal made you, was a really good assistance in thinking, gosh, how do we approach this problem? And it that again helped shape the way I view the world.
Yeah. Should we kick off proceedings with our first item? So this is your first bit of the dream vending machine. This is your drink of choice.
Is there a protocol as to who opens first, or can we go for it?
Announce what your selection is.
Go.
Okay, so it's Dr. Pepper. So there are two reasons for Dr. Pepper as I quickly take a sip. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's so great. It really, the reason I like it is it's much more kind of in your face than sort of normal Coke. It's really robust and wakes you up. And I think the aftertaste lingers beautifully. The second reason is that an annoying contrarian. I kind of have this weird gene in me that always makes me, I can't just drink normal Coke. It's got to be something a bit different. So that attracts me to Dr. Pepper, because not too many people have that. It's quite a niche product.
That's interesting, because we were talking about it when your things came in, and I wondered if it was to do with what's the worst that could happen, and your kind of value approach to things. So it also tie in.
But there must be a bit of that, right? You must have. I mean, making the link between there, because surely part of your investment philosophy has to understand value traps or potential issues that can occur, because it's part of the nature of value investing, right?
Yeah, no, it is. It is. We think a lot about downside risk. I mean, that was drummed into me from an early age, because my father, we had this big house with a pool and 3 garages and a tennis court and a sauna, and then my dad lost his job and we had to sell all that for negative equity, and it was quite, an interesting thing as you go through. And again, that really helped shape the way I think about investing. We think a lot about downside risk on the fund because we're aware that the world changes and things change.
Yeah, it's quite sort of fundamental in development, things like that, in terms of how you approach the world and your job.
Completely. And to this day, we love buying companies with strong balance sheets, and that has helped the fund, particularly in difficult years. So years like when the GFC unwound, when COVID hits and everything, the funds always perform well in those tricky environments, because we do think a lot about downside risk and those sorts of payoffs. It's not just about getting overexcited about what the potential upside might be.
Yeah.
And that contrarian nature that you talk to, Dr. Pepper versus Coke, have you found that tested?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we had 15 years of almost uninterrupted value underperformance, where I think, if you didn't think, gosh, is this still valid? You weren't paying attention. I mean, I think, we were fortunate in that over that period we still managed to beat our style and beat the market. And so that relieved a lot of the performance pressures or the pressures to change. And, I think over the years at M&G, the big lesson for organizations and for fund managers is if you just stick with a reasonably sensible thing over time and just stick with that through the difficult times, it normally comes good in the end and pays very good dividends. And we've seen that quite a few times at M&G, and M&G's been very good at helping us along that path.
And was interested in the kind of resilience that requires, though. So it's kind of, it's always easy to say it, isn't it, to kind of do, but to actually do that and live that, I think we see that across a lot of the fund managers we're interviewing, isn't it? Is that how do you kind of cope in those more difficult moments?
Yeah, I mean, I think the great thing is just having good clients. So I remember at the depths of the underperformance in sort of 2019, our internal guys, instead of putting pressure on me to change or whatever, were actually saying, Richard, let's add more, because they, and to have a client like that is helpful. Good colleagues So Daniel White and I, my boss now, who used to be my research analyst, and a colleague who runs our North American Value Fund would often go for counselling sessions together because it's tough. And I think an outsider doesn't realise like are you getting beaten up day after day after day, and time horizons compress in this industry. And so it can be hard. But yeah, having a good belief system, good colleagues, good clients, all those things really help a lot.
Should we get a?
It feels like the right time.
Required. This is your crisps of choice.
Yeah,
and these are new to all of us. Well, not new.
And we
to
also
you.
have.
You got the chutney as well.
Yeah, so this probably needs a bit of explaining, and you're going to be best placed.
Right. So the chips are not called Mrs. Simba's balls,
which is what I thought. When you wrote this down in an email, I thought, what are Mrs. Simba's balls?
I might have had a typo
and who is
there.
Mrs. Simba?
It's Simba is the South African equivalent of Walkers.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And the strap line is the chips raw with flavour, and there's that picture of a lion on there. So that's the advertising slogan. And then the flavour is Mrs. Balls' chutney, which is one of the probably only successful food exports out of the country. And I think all British people should be aware of Mrs. Balls' chutney. And I can assure you this is not me being contrarian. I am married to an Australian, and my children are as British as you could possibly imagine, and the entire family is in agreement. And all three countries and all over the world, these are the best.
Proper savoury vibes. And an umami kind of thing going on.
Normally we let you take those away, but I think we might keep those.
Oh, yeah,
they're nice.
That's delicious.
Okay. Well,
they're good.
Now I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask if they are better than Stewart's, but
and his was a poppadom, so
poppadom. No.
I mean, we're not really meant to have favourites.
No, different.
If I put it this way, they're the best crisp I've had today.
Oh, thank you, very good. And I will donate that bottle of Mrs. Balls because I have about 3 bottles at home already. We don't go without them, and hopefully that will be.
And what should we be having this with? Is it kind of like in a sandwich, or is it with a curry, or what's?
You can have it with literally everything.
This could be genuinely life-changing.
Except maybe granola.
Except not granola, yes.
Where we are.
But this could be life-changing. This is one of those things that all of a sudden could become part of, regular family meals.
And you're so you're obviously investing in sort of European equities across this time. So what's your sort of, when you think about sort of fashions in terms of, sort of global funds versus, specific country funds and things like that, how do you think about sort of your investing sphere?
Yeah, I remember our ex-CEO, Michael McClintock, he took a few of us to play golf when he retired, and he said, Richard, I have to own up that I used to walk past your desk and think, doing European value equities, you're never ever going to make any money. What a dead end. But it's been endlessly fascinating. I love doing Europe. If you run a US value fund, I mean, the US is one country, except for maybe California. But in Europe, you've got all these different countries doing different things. There's lots of complexity. So I think I'm in the sweet spot, and really enjoyed doing Europe over the years.
And on the flip side, what are the challenges that you see within European equity investing that may have contributed to some of that unpopularity in times, and we're in a period where it seems to definitely have had been more popular in the last, in particular, last kind of 2 or 3 years.
The great thing is it's not exciting, and us value investors, we don't like excitement, and so that the difficulties of the area make it really interesting, and we can pick up some amazing companies on very low valuations, which is much harder to do in places like the US, for instance. So.
And you talk there about not wanting to almost steer away, the contradictory nature, steering away from excitement in particular. I'm not going to ask you if there's a bubble in AI, because I think that's an unfair question, but having lived through the technology, the TMT, etc., are there some parallels that you see behaviourally that are kind of maybe giving you a bit of a warning sign in the market, or at least making you think more about that as a possibility?
I'm always going to think a situation like this is a bubble. It's so against our nature, but definitely I see the amount of speculative activity is kind of off the charts. The kind of distortions of who's trading in the market. So the passive funds in the US are massive. Plus you've then got the algorithmic funds and quant funds on top of that. And then on top of that, you got, the retail investor base who, are almost always very pro-cyclical and prone to overexcitement. And those really seem to dominate the flows in the US. So I'd be gobsmacked if there wasn't a very serious amount of distortion going on. And consequently, unfortunately, this is going to be on the record. But I think value in the US. We're excited about value in Europe, but I think value in the US is the most exciting sort of alpha opportunity around at the moment. We think the world's a really surprising, volatile place, and as such, we always stack the valuation odds in our favor. I mean, I think where we do find it kind of amusing, the value versus growth debate is so many people seem to have this inherent assumption that value and growth are these two fixed pools which fight against each other, and that couldn't be more wrong. Over time, and again, that's what I learned really early on in the TMT bubble. When regimes change, the old growth stocks a lot of them become the new value places, and vice versa. And that's like one of the things which we think adds a lot of alpha, and that's what keeps the job super interesting.
Yeah.
But it's a continuum, and it evolves, right?
Yeah,
so it's
exactly.
not. And I think being a value investor, you'd reflect that you don't think of yourself as one thing. You think of it as an approach that can be applied broadly.
Absolutely.
And in your own life, so to speak, do you are you value orientated, or is that something you think about a lot, in day to day?
Yeah. I mean, my advice to my girls is never marry a value investor.
On that bombshell, should we go to
your dream chocolate bar,
right,
Richard? And
now we have had this before, but I like it. Returners. This is.
I think this is
We're happy with this.
Okay.
Happy with this.
We're kindred spirits when it comes to this. I think so.
This is.
You would like to announce it, Richard? And
yes. So it's a crunchy. So the reason for the crunchy is because my mother used to crunch these up and then put them in ice cream and give us crunchy ice cream when we were young, and all of us kids just loved that. And obviously when we were very young, we couldn't work out how she magically did that. She would do that without telling us, but then it wasn't too hard to work out. But even now, I still think of that when I have a crunchy. And I love the caramel. You can savor and suck on the caramel rather than it just melting quickly like a
I was going to ask,
so.
do you have a specific... Laura and I were talking, we think this is a technique chocolate bar where there are different methods of devouring it.
Yes.
Could you tell us the
sticking
Richard Halle...
Sticking it in the cheek like a chipmunk technique and savouring it is the best way to do it. But if you're in a rush, you can always just crunch away.
I'm a breaker.
Are you?
I like to break it off.
Okay. No, I wouldn't eat all of the chocolate off and then eat the whole thing. But I would bit by bit often eat the chocolate first.
It's my favourite chocolate bar.
Are you really disciplined in terms of how or are you a snacker? Is this a sort of luxury day, or is this something you'd?
I am partial to a snack after at about sort of 2:30 in the afternoon, as normal. So one of the reasons I do like to do a bit of exercise is that you can then eat whatever the heck you feel like eating. Yep. So you can have your little snacks.
Yeah, yes, you do. Is that cycling, running?
So yeah, I'm a boringly predictable middle-aged man in Lycra. So yes, we do like doing a bit of cycling. It's a very, very nice way to get out and see the country.
One of the things that has been a common theme talking to fund managers and you guys investing is how that part of your kind of routine can actually help with your professional work, so kind of idea generation. Is that something, does it help you with decision making, or is this purely about switching off from all of that in terms of the way you kind of build exercise into your life?
Yeah. I think if you saw my trading activity, you would probably find quite a few trades placed after lunchtime gym sessions where like you sit down, you do the research, you maybe do what you need to do, and then you've got to make the decision, and you go out and just hammer it at the gym, and that does clear up a lot of things for you. So no, it's true.
I think that all that remains from Richard is to play back your dream vending machine. So as a dream drink, we have Dr. Pepper. It's bold, it's non-conformist compared to Coca-Cola. It reflects your contrarian nature. For the crisps, we've got Simba's Mrs. H's Bulls chutney flavour crisp. Is that right? I balls that up. But so crisps, we've got Simba's Mrs. Bulls' chutney. And again, we didn't explore much of a link here, but the link clearly back to South Africa and your kind of your motherland. And then for a chocolate bar, crunchy, ideally pocketed somewhere in the mouth so you can really sort of savour the caramel and the nature, the true nature of the crunchy.
Well,
are you happy with your dream machine?
Very, very happy indeed, and thank you for. And now that I don't have to talk anymore, I can actually have a bite of the crunchy.
Excellent, brilliant. That's great.
Brilliant. Thanks, Richard.
Thanks very much.
Great.